Hey there, BoxJumper here. Here for another of these self-isolation workouts. This is workout number 9. This one's going to be a fun one. It's intended to get your heart rate up. Before I get into what the workout is, you'll notice I'm wearing a weightlifting related shirt. This is actually, or sweatshirt anyway. This is from Quinn Everett. He's the Canadian national heavyweight champ for the last 2 years in Olympic weightlifting, and he just so happens to train out of Osprey Athletics, which is the gym that I'm a member at, and I also coach there. Although I take absolutely no responsibility for how brilliant Quinn is. That's entirely on him and his coach Isaac. This is just another opportunity for me to plug a local business, or in this case, a local friend of mine. Quinn's been working really hard for the last couple of years, and this shirt was his first effort to do a little bit of fundraising for himself so that he wasn't out of pocket to go to all these international competitions that he goes to represent Canada. So he had me work with him to develop this logo design, and we plunked a couple of business supporters, including my podcast, on his shirt. So shout out to Quinn. Hope you're doing well, Quinn, and I'm looking forward to getting together with you when all this craziness is over. All right, so here's the workout for today. There's going to be 3 different versions of the same workout. Now, there's going to be different variations on each movement that you'll be able to choose from as well. So that may influence what you decide to consider beginner, intermediate, or advanced. But I think you'll probably have a pretty good sense of it when I describe what the workout is. So it's 3 movements. Beginners will do 5 to 10 rounds. Intermediate will do 10 to 15. And the more advanced, probably the people that do this kind of thing on a regular basis, you're going to do 15 to 20 rounds of these 3 movements. So the movements are Russian twists, which will start with a seated variation, high knees, which we'll do as a standing variation, and what I'm calling up and aways, because I actually couldn't find a name for this. It's going to be 3 squats, a squat, and then a squat jump. So let's talk about the variations of each. So first of all, for each of these movements, you've got a rep scheme. So you're going to do 10 Russian twists, 20 high knees, and 5 up and aways. So if you're thinking straight, you're realizing, well, wait a minute, 5 sounds like not very much, but there's 3 squats in each of those movements. So you're still really getting 15 reps. So we're going to start with the Russian twists. A Russian twist in the traditional sense is a core exercise. We're going to leave it largely intact, tackling that same area of your body. But you're going to do it, if you're a really beginner, you're going to do it from a seated position. All you need is a little bit of weight. So that can be resorting back to using a heavy can from your pantry. It can be a paint can. It can be a kettlebell, a dumbbell, just some odd object that's fairly heavy that you can, that doesn't necessarily have to have a handle on it, but you've got to be able to use both hands to hang on to it while you do this movement. For high knees and up and aways, you don't need anything. You just need a nice spot on the floor. So let's take a look at what each of these movements are, and then I'll talk about how to scale them up to make them more difficult if you're feeling like you're maybe ready for intermediate or advanced version. So the beginner version of this is going to be seated. So you're just going to sit down in your chair, you're going to have your weight, and all you're looking to do is stay in a nice upright position, and you're looking to transition that weight from one side of your body to the other. So you're using your core to allow you to bring that weight up, twist, and bring it back down again. So bring it up to chest level, bring it over, touch the seat that you're sitting on, and then back again. So try to keep your chest facing up. I always feel like I'm facing in a kind of an awkward fashion because I'm thinking about where the camera is as opposed to what I would ordinarily do for these movements. So that's where it's going to start. Russian twist from a seated position will just allow you to touch each side. For the high knees, for an absolute beginner, all I'm looking for you to do is balance on one foot, bring the knee up as high as you can, and put it back down again. So it's going to feel like you're basically marching in place. Nice and high. The higher you can get it relative to your waist, the better. But really just think about picking up your leg as high as you can. If that's the extent of your range of motion, or that gives you some balance issues, you can hang on to something. Grab a countertop, grab a table, grab the side of a chair, anything that will allow you to get that knee nice and high. So you'll do 10 of the Russian twists, 20 of the high knees, so that'll be 10 on each side. And then the last movement is the up, and away. So we've done squat jumps already in one of the past workouts, but I'll demonstrate it again. So you're going to do 2 air squats followed by a squat jump. So it's 1, 2, 3. Now, that's the full range of motion that everyone hopefully will be able to use, but if you have any issues with your knees or your hips, you may only be able to come partially down. So whatever the extent of your range of motion is for a squat, that's what you'll use. Down, down, and then look to press your heels through the floor quickly, and even just a tiny hop if you can manage it. If you really need to scale this one down, think of it as just 3 times standing up from a seated position, and use that as your baseline. All right, so there'll be 5 of those. So it's 10, 20, and 5. Let's talk about the ways you can scale this up to make it a little bit more advanced, regardless of how many rounds you decide to do. The Russian twist, if you've got a weight plate, it allows you to keep it a little bit closer to your body potentially, and it's a little bit easier to hold because it's out wide. But I'll continue using my dumbbell as an example. So the Russian twist in the traditional sense is seated on the floor. So if you're able to, just stay in that upright position. So it's very much like you were when you were on the floor, but you're going to try to keep your heels as light as possible on the floor, or if you're a little bit more advanced, get them off the floor and touch the floor on either side of you as you go. Each time it passes over top of your body and touches the floor counts as 1 round. For high knees, do this fast. So instead of doing a slow march in place, think of this as the opportunity to get your heart rate really high. So you're going to run in place with your knees coming up at waist level. So if it gives you, if it helps, keep your hands out in front of you at a 90-degree angle and give yourself a target, and try to stay up on the balls of your feet rather than falling flat on the floor with the bottom of your foot. And then finally the up, and aways, exactly as I just demoed them, but do them a little quicker. Make sure that you hit the maximum range of motion that you can. Propel yourself up as high as you can. You're going to repeat that for as many rounds as you can, either 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, or 15 to 20. That's it. That's the workout for today. Be sure to share it on social media and let people know that these workouts are there for them to try. I hope that I'm making them as accessible as they possibly can be. So you can visit BoxJumper.ca to see all of the workouts. And of course, you can find me on social media with the handle BoxJumper over 40. All right, I'll be back again tomorrow with another workout. Good luck.